Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Tech Motoring Pit Stop. On today's episode we're going to be showing you how to change out a flat tire in the event that it happens to you. So hit that subscribe button and stay tuned. We're going to be right back. Well everybody, welcome back. Like I was saying, we're going to be showing you today how to put your spare tire on your car in the event that you happen to get a flat on your vehicle. Now the first thing that you should always do is, number one, always make sure that you're in a spot where you could even change a tire. If you're on the side of a highway and it's very dangerous, don't even bother trying to do that. Just make sure you can get off the road safely and call a tow truck. Don't ever try to take a chance if you are not safely able to do so. So let's say now that you got off the road and you were safely able to change your tire and put your spare on. At that point, what you want to do is you want to verify with your owner's manual if there are any weird stipulations with your vehicle. For instance, on this vehicle, this is a Mazda CX-5, you actually cannot put a spare tire on the front of the vehicle. You actually have to put them on the back of the vehicle. And that's mostly for traction for the front end. It's a lot safer to have your good tires on the wheels that are actually turning and giving you that traction, and because it's a front wheel drive car. It's always good just to review that chapter of the handbook just to make sure there's nothing else that you need to know before you start this process. And of course, one of the main things you should always do before you try to change a tire is always put your emergency brake on. So let's go ahead and start with that. Let's get the emergency brake put on, and then we're going to go ahead and show you what's in the back of the vehicle as far as spare tire and some tools. And we're not going to cheat today. I'm actually going to do this with the tools that are coming in the vehicle. No hydraulic jacks or any type of impact guns to help me get the lug nuts off. So now that we are here in the back of the vehicle, make sure you clean everything out of it to get to the spare tire well that's underneath. Typically in your car, it will be under a compartment similar to this as well. Once you get everything cleaned out and you can get to your spare tire, just go ahead and lift up that compartment. Perfect. So as you can see in this tire well, you have a few things. You have the spare tire. You have a couple of wrenches over here to get the lug nuts on and off the vehicle. Of course, the jack is hiding over here in this corner. And another thing I want to bring up, and we'll go over this shortly, is lock nuts. So if you have a lock lug nut on your vehicle for anti-theft reasons, you want to make sure that you actually have the key to unlock that lock lug nut, because it won't work with just the standard lug tool. So always make sure you have these in your vehicle. These are not something that you should be leaving, at home or anything like that. They should always be staying in your vehicle at all times. And another thing I want to bring up while we're here is you'll notice that the spare tire is kind of hidden away. Nobody really thinks of the spare tire. And when you check your 4 tires on the outside of your vehicle every, couple months or so for your tire pressure, one of the biggest things is to always verify your tire pressure in your spare tire as well. And you also want to make sure you inflate it to the proper pressure for the spare tire. And if it doesn't say it in your manual, it'll probably say it in the door jamb of your driver's side. Or it says right here on this tire, it says inflate to 60 psi. So right there on the tire, it tells you exactly how many pounds of air you should be putting in this spare tire. So you should always be checking that every few months, just like you do the 4 tires on your outside. Now that I've gone over that with you, let's go ahead and get this out of the vehicle, and then let's get back over to that flat tire. So now that we have everything that we need to change the tire on this vehicle, let's start with the jack and show you exactly how this works. So these types of jacks have been used for decades because they're very reliable and they're very compact. As you can see, they fit in the back of a car very easily, don't take up a lot of space, and they're very simple jacks. And all you have to do is turn this side of the jack, and as you can see, the jack starts to go up. So it's a very simple concept. So what we're going to do now is we're going to get this underneath the car, and we're going to find the proper jack point in which to use this so it can lift the car properly. And I'll go ahead and throw some B-roll footage in here so you can see where it is on this car. Now, of course, you want to absolutely refer to your manual for the proper jack point. You do not want to take a guess at this, because if it was to slip out of that jack point while it's in the air, that could be very bad. So make sure you have the proper jack point and make sure that the car is stable. Another reason why we put the emergency brake on as well. So let's go ahead and crawl into the car and get this situated. So now on this Mazda CX-5, the jack point is right here. And I identified that by the manual and by looking at it to make sure that it was a proper jack point. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to raise this up by hand just to get it to the proper height to start to get that tire off the ground. Now that we got the jack situated underneath the vehicle, what we want to do next is we want to just take the tool that has the hook in the end of it, and we're just going to wrap that around the hole that's in here, and we're just going to give this a couple of turns here just to make sure that it is tight. We don't want to jack it up too far because we want to loosen these lug nuts before we get the tire off the ground. So let's go ahead and move over to loosening those lug nuts. Now I wish I could tell you I have the magic trick to taking off lug nuts easily, but unfortunately when you're stuck in the middle of a parking lot or on the side of the road, you really only have this tool to do it. And that's unfortunate because if this was about 6 inches longer, it would make this job so much easier. However, this is what you get typically. I really don't have any hints as to how to make this easier for you, but all I could tell you is just try not to hurt yourself, throw at your back or anything like that to try to get these lug nuts off. Try to be as easy as possible with them. Just do it slowly, be careful, and try not to hurt yourself or damage your vehicle in any way as well. But the first thing I want to show you is I want to start off with the lock nut. And I was showing you this key before. So now this key is literally just something that goes over that lock nut, and you just want to turn it till it gets into that area. And then once it's locked in there, then you can go ahead and use this tool on this end of that lock. These are typically not as tight as the rest of the lug nuts, so I'm going to start with this one here. As far as these go, let's just see what happens. See, that one was easy. Oh, and righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. So make sure you're going in a counterclockwise motion. Okay, now that we've gotten the lug nuts loose, you don't want to take them off completely yet. Once we get them loose, we want to go ahead and continue jacking up the vehicle and just until we get this tire off of the ground. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Now, once again, utilizing the same tool as before with a hook on it, we can actually go ahead and take this tool. It has that hole in the middle. And we're just going to slide that in like this. And this will make it easier for us to be able to jack this car up. And once again, you're only going till that tire just comes off the ground. All right, that looks good just about there. So now once we're at this point, we can go ahead and finish taking off all the lugs off the wheel. Now, once you get the lugs off the car, the wheel should come off relatively easy. So just go ahead and give it a little bit of a tug and it should come off the car. Now keep in mind that this tire is still good. If you have a flat tire, you typically will be a lot easier because the clearance of the tire won't be as big down here. But anyway, give it a little bit of a tug and it should come off pretty easily. Now something I always like to do when changing a flat tire is I always take the tire that I'm taking off the vehicle and I will tuck it under the car just a little bit. And the reason for that is in the event that this jack were to fail for any reason, that tire would catch majority of the weight of the car. You do not want to be pinned under a vehicle when it comes down like that. So something I always like to do, yeah, it could destroy the wheel. Yeah, it might even hurt the car, but at least you will be fine. Now that we got that tire off, let's go ahead and put the spare tire on. And it's as easy as just lining up the holes just like we did when we took off the old one. And just hand tighten the lug nuts for now. And one more thing, it is recommended to not use the lock nut on a spare tire wheel. So if you have the spare lug nuts from when you bought the car or when you put these locks on yourself, always keep a couple of those in your car as well, because you may end up needing to use those in the event of a flat tire. So go ahead and take one of those if you have it and put those on instead of the lock. Once you have them hand tight on there, go ahead and just snug them down just a little bit with the wrench. Okay, so spare tire is on, lug nuts are on, but not quite torqued down yet, so we don't want to do that until we get this wheel back on the ground. So remove the tire out if you ended up using that as an additional safety measure, and then we're going to lower this jack a little bit. Okay, now that the tire is touching the ground, we can go ahead and safely torque down these lug nuts. Now obviously we don't have a way of knowing exactly how much torque to give them, or a way to measure that. We just have this tool. So we're just going to go ahead and torque them down as best as possible. Keep in mind, this is only temporary until you can get yourself to a service station or you know, a tire center that can repair or replace that tire that you have a flat on. This is only supposed to be driven for maybe 50 miles at the most, and you're only supposed to go no more than about 50 miles an hour. All depends on the type of vehicle, but that's what they're saying for this tire specifically. So make sure you do not run on this tire for more than just what you need to get your tire fixed. So anyway, let's go ahead and get these torqued down, and we are pretty much all set to go. Okay, so spare tire is on the car, lug nuts are torqued down, and now we're going to go ahead and finish lowering the car. Well everybody, as you can see, we got our spare tire on, everything is torqued down, it is now safe to drive. At this point, what you want to do is take all your stuff, throw it back into your car, and then immediately get yourself to a service center or tire repair shop, somebody who's going to be able to replace or repair that tire that you got a flat on. Now once again, if you are not comfortable doing this, just call a tow truck, AAA service, whoever, to come out and do this for you, or just tow your vehicle someplace safe. If you're in an environment that is not safe on the side of a highway or some other road that you just can't use a jack on because the car might be on a weird angle, don't even try to attempt to change a tire. It is not worth it at that point. Just call a tow truck to come and pick you up. Now I'd like to thank you very much for watching today's episode. If this helped you out, go ahead and hit that thumbs up. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Don't forget you can catch us on our website, techmotoring.com, on Twitter at techmotoring, facebook.com/techmotoring. I'd like to thank you again for watching, and remember, welcome to the future, and welcome to Tech Motoring, and I hope this never happens to you. I'll see you on the next episode. I just realized I gotta put my tire back on.